What is going on, guys? This is the Oracle. We are back online for a new Vintage Cube draft video. Spec is pretty good. Eugene is a fine first pick, I guess. Especially since, it's Vintage Cube, so there's a lot of, ramp even if you are not green. Riemann is decent, I guess. I'm gonna go with Yawgmoth's Will, though. I love that card, and I'd love to be able to play Storm. And yeah, I think I'll just first pick that and try to hope I can get a Lion's Eye Diamond or something good to use with that. But that card is just amazing in Storm, and yeah, Storm is pretty hard to make work in this cube, I think. You can, but you need a lot of you need a lot of tools and a fair amount of luck, I think, too. But when it works, it is really sweet, and Yawgmoth's Will is one of the best cards in this deck, I think. Okay, 2 reanimation spells here, but we are not really doing that today. I think I'm just gonna pick Mystical Tutor, which is a great card in Storm. You can get whatever you need to, to complete what you already have. I can fetch my Wheel, I can fetch, I don't know, if I already have Wheel, I can maybe fetch Dark Ritual, who knows. Very good card in Storm, and I don't think there's much else for us, so yeah, I guess it's easy peek. Okay, this pack is full of powerful stuff. Fact or Fiction and Treachery are both amazing. Animate Dead is very powerful too. But again, we are storming, so I'm just gonna pick that Lion's Eye Diamond, which again, great with Yawgmoth's Will. And yeah, using Diamond and Wheel and the Tutor is an easy way to get the mana and the Storm you need to make the deck work, so it's pretty good. I mean, those 3 first pick are quite amazing for Storm, but yeah, packs were very powerful. I think another option would have to start a reanimation deck, probably pretty solid, or just to pick some good blue cards like, yeah, Treachery and, I mean, especially Treachery, but Fact or Fiction too, are both quite powerful. But yeah, we are not doing that today. Pentad Prism is fine in Storm, not amazing. Same with Signet. If I were to wheel one of these, I'd be happy, but I'm just gonna pick Vampiric Tutor again. Having these tutors makes you more stable and makes it easier for you to assemble whatever you need to assemble to win. So feels like a pretty easy pick. That's good. 2 tutors. Yawgmoth's Will and Lion's Eye Diamond. So now I want, yeah, maybe Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual. I will need a Storm card. Hopefully I can get Brain Freeze or Tendrils. Any type of Power 9 be great. Black Lotus is amazing in Storm. Any Mox, obviously. But yeah, I feel like I have some of the most important cards for that deck to work. At least in my opinion, the easiest way to make that deck work is to use Wheel with Lion's Eye Diamond, and we have both alongside a couple tutors. So there's another tutor here which I could use, but sometimes it's a bit risky. If you stack too many of these, you can be in clunky situation where it's almost like mulliganing to 5 because obviously the card doesn't go into your hand. So probably don't want to stack up too many of these, but I would still probably play that. But either way, there is Brain Freeze. I could try to wheel it if no one else is playing Storm, but if it doesn't wheel, it's gonna be a shame. And if someone see Brain Freeze going like, I don't know, 6-7 pick, they might think that Storm is open, and that's also pretty bad for me, so I don't see any reason to pick something else. Okay, that's the first pack where there's actually not much. That's not really true though, because Tax and Probe is actually really good in Storm. First, you can see if they have something. If you wanna go off, you can just make sure they don't have a counter or something. Second, it works pretty well with Yawgmoth's Will, and 3 spells are kind of good in Storm. So yeah, actually, it's pretty valuable. Yeah. Grim Tutor now. I'd rather have Demonic Tutor, but that one is good too. And Tutor that puts cards in your hand right away, not like these, are really good with Lion's Eye Diamond, because you can tutor, in response to the tutor you sack your Lion's Eye Diamond, and then Yeah, for example, I could Grim Tutor. In response, I sack LED. For 3 black, I tutor Yawgmoth Wheel. I Yawgmoth Wheel, and then I can recast LED. And you know, this is pretty much what you want to be doing. And even though it's not the best tutor, it's still quite valuable and pretty good here. Okay, Anticipate I think is fine. Any type of Ponder, Cantrip, anything that lets you select a little bit and, you know, get to choose between top cards of your library is pretty good here. It's not amazing, but it is fine. It is fine. We willed Remand, which is one of my favorite counterspell to play in Storm, just because you get a card back, so you can just use it to buy a bit of time and then hopefully Storm. I think this is probably the best start I've ever had, you know, when trying to play Storm. Like, I really have all the tools I want, pretty much. Crazy that we have already a win condition, the wheel and the Lion's Eye Diamond, a few tutors. It's just great. It's just working out super well here. I think the card that's the most likely going to be annoying for me here is Manatee, so I'm just going to cut it. Don't really care about anything else. I doubt I will side this in, but who knows. I mean, there's nothing else I'm really interested in. Guess this is the card I'm the most likely going to play. Ophiomancer is not a bad one for the side, especially if your opponent sides out all their removal. This can be a pretty pesky card to deal with game 2 and 3. Yeah, that's really one of the best start I've ever had playing Storm, which is nice. I don't really want to play against Thalia or Eidolon. I guess Thalia might be a bit more annoying, but Eidolon is really tough to beat too. Now I'm just, you know, I have a win condition, I have my wheel, I have my Lion's Eye Diamond. I think Dark Ritual is among the best card I can get, because mana is pretty important. And Dark Ritual is great with Yawgmoth Wheel. Any type of Ponder, Preordain, or Chip Cantrip is great too. And then maybe a second win condition, Tendrils, or something like that be good. Yeah, guess we'll see. Unfortunately, it feels like this pack doesn't have anything for me. I don't really love playing Mesophit in Storm. You kind of want to have all the mana you can, so playing a land that doesn't produce mana is not the best, I think. Quicken just cycles itself, but it's pretty bad overall. I don't really want to play that. And then the other blue and black cards are not very good for us. Yeah, there's just not much for us in this pack, unfortunately. I think I'm just gonna pick Marsh Flats because if I get an Underground Sea or Watery Grave, this is another, you know, another blue-black source, which is cool. Also, if I get something like Hallowed Fountain or Tundra, this can fetch between white and black potentially. So, yeah. I guess, and you know, there's just nothing else basically. That's another pretty bad pack for us. I think I'm gonna pick Volcanic Island because there's a small chance I want to splash for red if I have something like Empty the Warrens or Seething Song. So that's the better option, I think. Mod Drifter is not the worst. Just drawing a couple cards is fine in Storm, but it's not great. And again, there's a small chance I want to play red. Probably just picking Mind Twist here. That card is just good in general. And sometimes when you are playing Storm, you can just produce quite a lot of mana. And yeah, I mean, this is just a good card in general. It's also a nice thing I can tutor with one of my tutor if I want to, if this is something good to do. I'd be happy to play Thirst, I think, but this is stronger, I think, so I'll just go with the Mind Twist. You don't really want to run too many cards that do something other than your game plan in Storm. Like if you had a couple removals and stuff like that, it can easily get clunky. But Mind Twist is so powerful that I think it's fine. cards like Baleful Streaks or Remand are fine because they replace themselves, so you can just use them to buy a little bit of time, and then you don't really care because you got another card, so they work pretty well. But playing a couple removals and stuff like that in Storm can sometimes you kind of want to do it, you feel like it's fine, but it's an easy way to have a deck that's not functional. I think I'd be happy to have the Streaks, but I pretty much have to pick Time Spiral here. It's another very powerful card that you can use with Lion's Eye Diamond, or just on its own. Very good in Storm. Ooh, Dark Ritual. I'm picking that. Yeah, Snapcaster is fine in Storm, especially if you have things like Dark Ritual. It's a decent card. I think it's not amazing though, but Dark Ritual is really what we want here. There's the Tendrils of Agony. I can probably use a second win condition. Izzet Signet would be pretty good too, I think. Maybe Treasure... Well, Treasure Cruise is not the best when you're playing Yawgmoth's Will, so I'm not a huge fan, actually. But yeah, Izzet Signet would probably be good, but I think having a second win condition is nice and pretty important. Okay, well, Gush is good in Storm, so I'm just gonna pick that. Inquisition of Kozilek is also fine, but I think Gush is quite valuable here. Cabal Ritual, great. Jeez, that pack, what the hell? There's still a Street Mine in the pack, which we cannot really pick, unfortunately. It's not even great in Storm though, but there's Time Twister, High Tide, and Cabal Ritual. It's tough. I mean, High Tide with Time Spiral is amazing. And if we can get other untap effects, it's gonna be really great. Cabal Ritual is just maybe safer, but a little bit harder to make work. I don't know, it's tough. High Tide does put constraints on your mana base though. I think I'll go with Ritual, but it's really tough. I would have loved to get all the cards. And I think the Time Spiral is decent, but it's not that great. I mean, it kind of depends on what you are doing. It's a good card, but I think this is maybe more valuable. And we already have a Time Spiral. I don't know, it was tough. Like, all three cards were potentially quite good. And yeah, maybe High Tide is just better than Cabal Ritual. I don't know. The thing is, we have a couple double black spells, and High Tide is kind of annoying for your mana base potentially. So I'm gonna pick Diabolic Edict. Like, I will not main deck that, but it's a good option if I face the deck like Reanimate or someone with Tinker that's trying to put gigantic creature onto the battlefield early on. This figure is nice for the side. Manic Vandal. If I play red, I could side it in, and I might play some other artifacts. I mean, other than Lion's Eye Diamond, so this could be annoying for me to face. Don't really want to play against Tide Hollow Scholar, I guess. Cut is nice for the side, but I'd rather not main deck it unless I have to. Again, this card is pretty good, like, drawing is nice, but this is pretty much a non-bow with Cabal Ritual first and Yawgmoth's Will, so I don't really want to delve if I can, you know, I'd rather not delve, basically. Okay, Time Oak, Mox Jet, Magus of the Wheel I think is just much weaker than Yawgmoth's Will. I mean, it is clearly much weaker, but the issue in Storm is that it will probably be your only creature, so it will never leave. Like, I cannot really imagine playing that and tapping with it when the opponent knows you are playing Storm and you haven't played any other creature the whole game. So it's, yeah, not a great card, I think. Mana Leak is not great in Storm. Kind of suffers from the same issue I was talking about before with removals. If you have cards that don't replace themselves and just interact with the opponent, well, it can buy you time. It's not the worst, but sometimes it can be a bit clunky. Ours of Signet would be probably decent. I don't know. I feel like Mox Jet is actually stronger. Like, Time Walk is just basically gonna give us one more turn. Like, it's gonna... we'll get to play another land, but Mox Jet kind of does the same thing and works better with Storm, I think. I don't know, no, I don't even think it's close. I'm pretty sure Mox Jet is just better in Storm. I will probably just be creeping Tar Pit here. Fixing is good. We cannot really use Griselbrand. Spell Pierce is fine, but again, this is... I'd rather play the least possible amount of interactive cards, at least the one that don't replace themselves. And again, fixing is important and good. I do like Mystic Confluence, I think. It's interaction, but you can also just use it to draw cards, so it's fine. You can also use it to interact and draw a card. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just a fine card. Repeal is kind of the same, but I think Mystic Confluence is just a stronger repeal, basically, so I'm just gonna pick that. Just want Ponder here. Gearhulk is kind of funny, but I don't really think this is what we want. Yeah, Ponder is pretty great, though. I don't like Careful Study in Storm. I've seen people playing Careful Study in Storm, but I don't really think it's a great idea. Like, yeah, I just don't like it. I like that card a lot in a Reanimator. It's one of the best cards, but in Storm you discard disadvantage. Frantic Surge is fine because it doesn't cost any mana, and untapping land is sometimes good because of High Tide and stuff like that, but Careful Study I just don't really like. That being said, there's not much else. Maybe I should pick Blood Creep. I don't think I'm gonna splash red, but who knows. And I can fetch the Blood Creep with Marshflat, so that could be something. This pack does not have anything for us. I think I'm gonna pick Caracas. I might not put it in the main because this could be troublesome for the mana base, and the mana base is not great right now, but it's a good sideboard option against some decks. We are not really the type of Storm deck that can use Palinchron, unfortunately, so I can't really pick that. If we continue to miss, we'll end up a little bit short on playables, which is unfortunate. Like, yeah, and I'm not sure there's match that can wheel, but we got so many good cards early on that it's, you know, it was to be expected that we would not get a ton of things later on. So yeah, there is that, I guess. I think I will have to play a couple interactive spells, which I did not wanted, but will have to. And I guess Hero's Downfall is just an upgrade to most Stream Walls, so we'll probably end up in the main. I think Oars of Signet is better than Magus of the Wheel, for the reason I mentioned last time we saw it. Yeah, mana is pretty important in Storm. I guess these are cards I could play. I'd rather not, but Cut is kind of annoying because of you know, Delve, so I'd rather avoid that. Even though it's a stronger removal in general. Again, don't really want to be delving with my deck. And this, I don't know, like, the card is really good, but there's a ton of things I like. Removing stuff from my graveyard really makes the Yawgmoth Wheel weaker, so I really want to avoid that. And by the way, I'm gonna play Marshflat even if I don't have any anything to fetch other than, you know, a swamp, just because it's potentially good with Wheel. You can, you know, play your Marshflat from your graveyard, and you can also use it to shuffle a Ponder. Like, you ponder and you want one card but not the other, so you can just use that as a way to shuffle. There's Heartbeat of Spring here. I think I'm gonna pick that, but I don't think I'll get to splash for that, unfortunately. It's gonna be pretty tough. I have no fixing for green. It's unfortunate because Heartbeat is really good with Time Spiral, and we could use it with Palinchron. But I think splashing that off absolutely no fixing is just a little bit too risky. Yeah, kinda unfortunate. It's potentially very powerful though. And I guess we have 2 tutors which you can use to fetch for green mana if necessary. It's not the best idea though, but I'm kinda short on playables, so maybe I'll have to do that anyways. I don't really like Scroll Rack a lot. I really don't like that card. Unless I have a lot of shuffle effects. I think I'll have to play Study, even though I don't really like that. Just because otherwise I don't really have enough playables. And we'll try to splash for the Heartbeat, but it's quite clunky. It is quite clunky. Deck started very well, but this last pack was pretty bad. Still think the deck is functional and solid, but it's not as good as it could have been, should have been. I could rather easily splash for red or white, but unfortunately I want to splash for green. Yeah, that's kinda clunky. And I pretty much have to add one card here. Well, I guess I could play 17 lands and Mox Jet. I have a couple card draw spells, so I don't... Well, I can flood though. I could flood. I think a land is pretty much always going to be better than any of these though. So I think we'll just add... yeah. The green splash is a little bit clunky, but Heartbeat plus Time Spiral or Palinchron is potentially so powerful that I think it's worth it. And again, we have 2 tutors that we can use to fetch for green. And yeah, it's something you can do. We have a couple, we have Ponder, Anticipate, we can probably find a way. We can also use Lion's Eye Diamond to purge screen, so even without fixing, I think this is kinda decent. So I think we mostly want blue. We already have 2 black lands. 3, I got 3 black sources there. So I probably don't need much more black. I kinda wanna play 2 forests. This would make it 992. 992 is not the worst. I mean, yeah, casting that Heartbeat might be a little bit tough, but again, we have 2 tutors plus the Lion's Eye Diamond, so I think this might work. Alright, well, again, it started off very well and then went kind of worse afterwards. Not a ton I could have done, I think, but we'll see if it works. I'd be very happy if I can kill some people with Tendrils or Brain Freeze. So yep, that's the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed the draft. Feel free to drop a like if it's the case. Thank you for watching, and see you for round 1.